Hello and welcome to today's video. Now, I've made it pretty clear that there are a number of Lamy pens that I really like. I am partial to the Safari. I really like the Studio, but I love the 2000. This pen model is close to one of my favorite fountain pens in my entire collection. It is easily one of my most used fountain pens, and I've had this one in a medium nib for about, I don't know, 5-6 years, something like that, and it's regularly inked most of the time. And I love it, and I said it's a medium nib, and I really wanted to get an extra fine nib for this pen, like just a nib that I could replace in and out and swap out with my medium when I wanted to. And then a deal came up online for this, the stainless steel version of the Lamy 2000 with an extra fine nib. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to get the extra fine in the stainless steel. I'll check out the model. I've used them a couple of times, but I'll use them a bit more. And then I'll swap the nibs out when I want to, the extra fine, into my Macrolon version. Funny thing is that I found I really love this stainless steel version for different reasons to the Macrolon. I really like both. So at the moment this nib is staying in this, I'm going to use this as the pen it is. And you can check out a full review of the Macrolon on my channel if you want. I'll leave a link to it down below for you so you have easy access. But let's talk about this pen today. So I'm going to talk about the parts and features. I'll do a writing sample and then talk about a couple of pros and cons. So, starting at the top, simple brushed stainless steel material, flat top, little ring there, spring-loaded clip, which is nice. And it looks very nice on this pen, given the fact that they kind of like a match up a bit. The cap swells out, little step down onto the barrel. The barrel continues along and then tapers, and then we get a little disc, steel disc there in the bottom of the pen. It is a piston fountain pen, so you can see just there is a little line. By the way, apologies for the inky fingers. I had a pen explode just earlier. But piston mechanism operates on there, open it out, piston runs up and down in the pen. It is a snap cap pen, and it's beautifully unadorned. It's one of the things I love about the 2000 is that there's not a whole lot to it really, and I really appreciate that. There's two little like ears, which is where the pen caps onto, so that's where that little click is in a ring in the inside of the cap. It's very secure, and then the section tapers dramatically to this hooded 14 karat gold nib, and there's the feed and the breather hole there on the end. Not a whole lot to it. As I said, nice piston, about 1.35 milliliters of ink in the capacity, so very good. And that's about it. It's a very good solid pen. I said I got it with an extra fine nib. There's not a whole lot of branding on it. It says Lamy there on the back of the cap. It's a traditional Lamy design. The 2000 model has been around for decades. It's this Bauhaus sort of style pen, and I think it's a really beautiful pen. It's not everyone's taste. It's one of the most contentious pens on the market in a lot of ways. People either love it or they hate it. I love it. There are a lot of people who love it. There are a lot of people who hate it. So it's not going to be for everyone. It is for me, and that's why I give it positive reviews. Size comparison. Let's do it alongside the Macrolon 2000 and then the Lamy Safari. Bit of a Lamy fest today. So they all come in around a similar mark, around that 140 millimeter mark. And the dimensions of the stainless steel version versus the Macrolon version, they're pretty similar. Uncapped, the Safari is a little bit longer, but the two versions of the 2000, once again, very similar. Posted, the Lamy Safari is once again longer, but the 2000 models do post very nicely, and they post quite comfortably down onto the pen, giving you, and because there's no defined grip section, if you want to hold it slightly further back for a slightly longer distance from the page, it's not rubbing on your hand or anything like that. One thing with the grip section is that you do notice those little ears, and so if there's something that you don't enjoy, just be aware they are there, just the same as the Macrolon version. Dimensions here for the Lamy 2000 stainless steel, it's 140 millimeters when it's capped. It's 125 when it's uncapped, so perfectly good size to use unposted. Posted, it's about 155, so it's still pretty good size and, you know, comfortable. Around here on the grip section, it's about 10 millimeters, and then around the cap it's about 14. So it's not a super girthy pen, but if you hold it further down, that is going to end up being very, very narrow. Now, the biggest difference, other than material, the biggest difference between the Macrolon and the stainless steel versions of these pen is the weight. The stainless steel version weighs 55 grams, 35 in the body and 20 in the cap. So it is heavy and you do feel the weight of that cap. I tend to use this one unposted because the unposted weight at 35 grams is more than the entire weight of the Macrolon version, which weighs about 26. Whereas the Macrolon version, when it is posted, the balance for me is beautiful. Unposted, the stainless steel feels really great, really solid and nice and heavy in my hand. I enjoy it a lot. So we're going to do a writing sample now with the Lamy 2000 stainless steel with a 14 karat gold extra fine nib. The ink in this is Lamy Black, which is one of my sort of everyday black inks. Super widely available, super affordable, decent performance. And this has been a bit of an everyday writer for me for the last little while. So perfect combination. Let's do the writing. It's a really comfortable pen to write with. As I've said, it's not going to be for everyone. Not everyone is going to like the way it feels in the hand, and particularly the steel version. Not everyone's going to like the weight, but it writes so well. I'd say it's fairly wet, particularly for an extra fine. Like, that's pretty wet. It's good with fast writing. No issues there. Reverse writing. Oh. It's a bit scratchy, a little bit dry, not the best, and it's definitely not a flex nib. Now, one thing that always comes up with the Lamy 2000 is the sweet spot on the nib, and that happens the broader the nibs get. So the extra fine is the finest nib you can get on the 2000, like traditionally, and it's not super fine. It's fine enough for me to be an everyday writer, but because it is so fine, you don't get so much. Like, there is still that sort of sweet spot as the nib turns. You can see it there as I turn the nib. But you're going to get that with any nib. It's just not as pronounced as even my medium nib. And let's just do a quick writing sample here with the medium. I'll just put medium nib here. So this is the 2000. You can see just like what a difference. Like, the medium nib on my 2000 is super broad. Like, it's a super broad medium, but you can just see the difference between the medium and the extra fine there. Very pronounced. And this is like a super wet writer as well. This is Lamy Black also. But yes, super wet writer, super smooth writer, as is the extra fine here. I just find with the extra fine and in this particular pen body, it feels like a very luxurious writer, particularly for an everyday writer, and particularly the deal I was able to get, which isn't available anymore, so I'm not going to sort of put links for it or anything like that. But there was a great sale on it here in Australia. I was able to pick one up at a pretty reasonable price. So I'm really glad I could and did. So what does the Lamy 2000 stainless steel retail for? Well, it's about 350 plus Australian dollars. I've seen it from around 350 up to mid 400s, which is a large price range, but different suppliers, different, profit margins, things like that. I went on to Goulet pens, and this pen was retailing for 319. So US. So it's not an inexpensive pen, and it is considerably more expensive than the Macrolon version. But it is a big solid pen for its price with a beautiful nib. So what are the pros and cons? Well, the cons, A lot of people don't like the ears on the side of the grip section there, those little lugs that the pen caps onto. If they're a problem, either hold it either side of them, or, you know, it might not be the pen for you if it's too much of an issue. The other thing is to take the pen apart, to clean it, you know, and to change the nib. It unscrews on that line that those ears are on, and those ears are on a tiny little metal ring. If you lose that, the pen won't cap properly. So if you do take the pen apart, just keep an eye on that very small piece of metal that those are actually on. Pro and a con will be the weight. For me, I like it, particularly, as I said, unposted. Posted, it just feels a bit heavy, but also a little back heavy for my taste. But unposted, super comfortable. So the weight will be an issue for some people. If you don't like the weight of this pen, try the Macrolon. If you love the weight of the Macrolon, this might be too heavy. It's going to be up to each person's individual taste. What I love about this pen is that nib. Extra fine, but not super fine. Fine enough for everyday writing. Not scratchy at all, super smooth, wet, consistent, super reliable, like super reliable. It's one of the things I love about the 2000. Brilliant. I love the design and the lines of the pen, that simple Bauhaus kind of aesthetic. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. It's simple, but it's elegant, but it's quite refined in my taste. Some people think it's hideously ugly. I love it. The other thing is I love the brushed finish on the stainless steel. I think it's very nice. It's not a fingerprint magnet, but it's got a nice sort of metal feel. And as I said, it feels like quite a luxurious pen. So this is the Lamy 2000 stainless steel version of the pen with an extra fine nib. I hope you found this video interesting and useful. Please like and subscribe, hit the notifications button, all that kind of stuff. If you've got products you think I should be looking at, or if there's a way you would like to support the channel, I would love to hear from you. In the meantime, enjoy your pens, enjoy writing, and I'll talk to you soon.